Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of the Mobilveta I59, which is a 2018 model. So as we start the walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle, first locker you get to is your LPG, liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker. So using the key, if you open and then if you press the two outer catches, the lock will pull forward, which will open the locker. And this is your habitation key, which opens all the locks on the habitation side. So in the gas locker you can fit two 6 kilogram propane bottles on board. To connect the pigtail to the bottle, it's a left hand thread and you just hand tighten. Turn it off before you leave home or leave site, so when you're driving it's safe, and then you turn it on when you arrive on site. And then there's some straps, so you would strap the bottle in to make sure that the bottle is secure when travelling. And like I say, you can fit two bottles in there. And then coming further back, you've got your awning light, your awning, which is a full Omnistar awning, your fridge vents, your cassette toilet. So again, using the habitation key, you can open the hatch. There's a little handy clip here to keep the door up to get the cassette out. So to get the cassette out, what you need to do is ensure that the blade's closed. So when the blade's closed, you'll know, because you'll be able to lift the orange handle and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You've got a handle so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. And then to empty, remove the cap, press the button, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so put some water on board in the cassette, give it a shake and tip out again. Then if you're using the liquid form of chemical, this is a 120 ml cap, so you'd fill it with 120 ml of either the blue or the green chemical, pop it into the cassette and it's good to go back into the motorhome. If you are using the sachets, so the tablets that come in the tubs, which are the sachets in the cellophane, what you need to do is put a pint of water in either before you put the cassette back into the vehicle, or you can push it in empty and flush a pint of water into the cassette, followed by a tablet which you can put in by operating the blade, which I'll show you how to do once on board. You've got an external telly point here, so if you are on a super site you can connect with a bit of coax to here, and then it'll run the tellies on board off the main aerial on site if you are in a hard to reach place. And you've got a 12 volt point there, but you will need the other style 12 volt, as this is the continental style 12 volt instead of the normal one that we have in the UK. At the back you've got your garage, so press the locks again, and this one's locked, so you turn it horizontal and then you can open the door. You've got a light, it's heated by the heating on board, and you've got a large storage space. You do have access in here to the boiler, so the boiler's in the back here. So it's very important that you drain the vehicle off in the winter, and you want to drain this boiler off because it doesn't only heat the vehicle, it heats the water. It heats 10 litres of water at any one time. So you've got an anti-frost drain valve here from Truma, so when it gets to 3 degrees it'll automatically open and drop the water when not in use. But don't rely on it, because if this ever becomes faulty, then you're going to foot the bill to replace the boiler, because this has become faulty and you've relied on it. So what you need to do is just ensure that it is open, or if you're not using the vehicle, especially in the winter, open it before it would drop anyway. So what you need to do is, there's a diamond on the top that goes from left to right across the back of the vehicle. Turn it to front to back. The little blue nib will pop out at the bottom, which is the button, and the black tab will pop out in the middle. That means that it will drain the 10 litres of water directly off underneath the chassis. And then to close, you would just turn it and push the button in, and that is now holding water. But it's very important that you drain it off in the winter, because if not, it's not covered under any sort of warranty, and these boilers are very expensive. And then when you come to reuse it, so you would shut it like so, put it in the closed position, fill with water from a hose pipe, close your fresh new waste first before you do fill with the hose pipe. Then you'd go into the vehicle and you'd shut all the taps, because you'd want to leave them all open during the winter time to stop any airlock and water from coiling up in the pipes below. So shut all the taps, put the control panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic pressurized cold water feed. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from the hot side. This is when you know that the system is primed. Then you would continue to do the other taps, and then you would want to heat your water just to check that your water is getting warm and it's ready for the season. So that's all in here. So make sure that you do winterize. You've got your awning winding handle and your rafter bar, which is this bar here. So this is just the center bar. And then you've got your winding handle here for your bed. So as your bed goes up and down, as it's on a reel system, depending on what you've got in the garage, your bed winder clips on here. So if you wanted to put bikes in, you just pop that on there, and then what you can do is you can wind the bed up and down. So that's in the, from here, like so, and that just clips off and goes back on there. And then you've got handy storage pockets on the back. Coming to the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light on the top beside your marker lights, your reverse camera, and then you've got your two Thule bike rack. So you just pull that down, these slide along depending on how long your bikes are. Put your wheels through the chocks and then the straps through the spokes to tie the wheels down. And then you've got these for the crossbars, so you can just attach that. That's for your second bike, the shorter one's for your first bike. And then that would just clip back up when not in use. But what I would advise is that you put some sort of bike lock around there to stop the bikes being pinched if the vehicle was left unattended. Come to the passenger side, sorry. So you do have your Thule, or should I say Truma, vent cover for the boiler. So this is the vent for your boiler that's hidden in your garage. What you want to ensure is that this is left obstruction free, and it will just allow the gas fumes out when heating the vehicle or the water. And then you do have your hookup point. This is where you would hook up with mains power. So you get your hookup lead, expose the ends, slide it on there, hook the vehicle up. Always hook the vehicle up first and then do your power source, and then do it in reverse when unhooking. When unhooking, there's a small black clip in the left hand corner. You just push that down to allow the hookup lead to disconnect. This is your freshwater intake, so it opens with the main habitation key. And you put a hose pipe in there and fill until it overflows, or until you're happy you do have enough water on board, which you can see on the main control panel, which I'll show you when I'm inside. So go and grab yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, because it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites, and carry one in the vehicle with you. And then at the front, with the main ignition key, the fate key, this is your diesel filler. So this is how you would fill with diesel fuel at the filling station. You've got your engine battery underneath this compartment here. Underneath here you do have your toolkit, so it's got a jack and a brace and a tone iron. On the side of the dashboard, hidden away just above the speaker, is your bonnet release. So you can pull that to release the bonnet. And if we go and have a quick look underneath the bonnet, there's a lever just here, lifts the bonnet up, and then you can put your stay on there, and it just clips on the back of the metal clip here. So underneath the bonnet you do have your screen wash, which is here, your coolant and your power steering fluid, coolant, brake fluid with the yellow cap on, engine oil filler and your dipstick for checking your levels. Then if you wanted to jump start the vehicle if it ever become flat, or you want to give someone else a jump start using the motorhome, putting your key in here and lifting this panel exposes the positive terminal which runs to the battery, and then you would just earth off an earthing point. So there's an earth here, just up here, or you could probably use the back of these bolts here for a good earth. So once inside the vehicle, above the habitation door is your main 12-volt control panel. So if you're hooked up, you'll get this light here, the green light, which indicates you are receiving 240 mains voltage. You've got a master switch here which turns the vehicle on and off. And then you've got a button that says aux. Aux turns on the 12 volts. So if you want to run any 12-volt appliance such as the telly, the lights, the ignition for the cooker, and the hob, you've got to have that on there, otherwise you won't get any 12-volt running around the vehicle. Next to it you have the picture of the tap, which is the pump. So if you want a pressurized flow of water, so you've got to have this on when using the water appliance, otherwise you'll get whatever's left in the lines and it'll simply drain out and then no water will come through. So make sure if you're using the taps, toilet or shower, you've got this on. Next to it you've got your awning light, which is the light on the outside of the vehicle above the habitation door. And then these buttons here correspond with these on the side. So you've got the one of the trailer, which is your leisure battery reading. And then you've got the one of the truck, which is your Fiat engine battery reading. You've got the one of the wavy lines, which indicates water, and this is your fresh water reading. Obviously when that goes to a red, it means it's time to refill the fresh water, and when the one below goes to the red, it means that the waste is full. And then you can brighten and dim the panel here if it's too bright or too dull for you to see by the end button. You've got a thermostat which works with the Truma boiler system, which I'll get on to in a minute how to set that. And then you've got this little switch here which does your little blue night lights. And then when I'm here I may as well do these switches here. So you've got heated water tank, and then you've got the switch for the entrance light there. You've also got the weight plate down here, so if you want your weight, 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, 5.5 ton train weight, front and back axle weight. To heat the water and the vehicle, it's all done through this Truma CP control panel. So you'd press and hold to turn on, press and hold to turn off. This is standby, so press once and you'll get into the main menu. In the top left hand corner you have a motorhome with a thermometer flashing. This is the temperature of the inside of the vehicle. So maximum is 30 degrees, or in the summer you'll probably not want the heating on at all, so you turn it to off. Then you would press enter to save that, but for this we'll say 30 degrees because it's cold and we want the vehicle to heat. So 30 degrees, press enter, that's heating the vehicle at 30 degrees. Then you've got a thermometer in some water, so this is how hot you want the water. So if you haven't got any water in the boiler or on board, you'd have it off. You can have it to eco, which is 40 degrees of heating the water. You can have it to hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your hot water. Or you can have it to boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritize the water first. So for this we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water. Fan speed in the top right hand corner, so you can have it on eco or high or boost. So eco takes a smaller 12 volt feed, so if you were sleeping and you wanted the heating on, put on eco because it's a lot quieter. High is a little bit louder, but it pushes the heat around that little bit more. And then boost, it'll just go full pelt, maximum fan speed, and it will blow the heat around the vehicle. So for this we'll just say eco. Then in the bottom left hand corner you've got a timer, so you can time the heating to come on and off just the once. you've got the time on the main display panel, so you can set that to the time that it is now. And then you've got a spanner setting in the bottom corner, so you can reset it should you ever need to by pressing reset. It'll come a preset, press again, and it will reset this control panel should it become glitchy, because sometimes from time to time they can become a bit glitchy, so you just need to reset them. But this heating and hot water panel on this vehicle is gas only, so you can only heat the vehicle or the water off gas. So make sure that your gas bottle is full and it's turned on. So to operate your TV system, you obviously need to make sure that you've got the aux button on the main control panel turned on to get a 12-volt feed. And then you can bring your telly out on the Project 2000 bracket. So press here first and then just slide the screen back until it drops down. And then behind, as it's got a max view TV system on, which is a satellite system should I say, you turn it on here, it'll flash, and you want it to flash on the Astro 2, so number 2. If you did need to change the satellite, if you are going abroad, you would press sat until you got the right satellite you want, 1 to 5. 2 being the one you want, as it's Astro 2. Put the dish up by pressing this button here, and then you'll see the dish going down. You can press it up as well, and then once that goes to a solid green light, you know that the dish is up and it's locked on and found the signal that you're looking for. So there it'll start flashing, which means it's going up, and it'll flash rapidly until it goes to a solid light and it's locked on to the signal. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time to find the signal, depending on the weather and the time of day.
Tahar and Mary, and they went shopping with Kate Bliss. Now the first
but there it's gone to a solid light, the satellite's up, and the telly is on.
It's simple. I think brooches are making a bit of a comeback, and it looks to me to be quite fashionable. £20 to £30.
They've only paid £25 for it, so we're right slap bang in the middle of the estimate.
Right in the middle.
So you can use the menu and do an auto tune on satellite there, and you can search, yes, and it'll do an auto tune and find as many channels as it can where you're located. So you may want to, every time you move, just do a satellite search if you're struggling to find certain channels. So below the TV and above the fridge, you do have your oven and grill. So you've got a light on there, you've got the oven going, and above you've got the grill, which is a Dometic oven and grill. Below, to operate your Thetford fridge freezer, so you've got a freezer box and a large fridge, which is all controlled through the middle on the center control panel. So this side, the far left, you've got a little black button here which turns it on and off by pressing and holding. And then further on, this button here changes the energy source. So A stands for automatic energy selection. So the brain of the fridge will pick out what source it has available at what time and what's the best source to use. So at the moment we've got the gas on, but we're hooked up, so it's went to hookup, which is the picture of the hookup lead. If I was to take the hookup out now, it would go to gas and self-ignite. If I was to start the engine, it would go to the 12-volt setting, which isn't from the leisure battery, it's from the engine. When it's running, it basically turns it into a cool box, so it's got to be pre-chilled beforehand if you want to use this setting, either at home or if you're moving from site to site. Great, your shopping will stay nice and fresh. If you manually wanted to change it, you just press the square button. So hook up 240 volt, battery filled with a code 6, which means no 12 volt setting because the engine's off, and then you've got the gas. Please note with the automatic setting, if you were to leave your gas open and you were to pull into a petrol station to fill up with diesel, you wouldn't be finding a 12 volt feed, you wouldn't be finding 240, but you may find gas. The fridge is automatically programmed to wait 20 minutes once the engine's knocked off before lighting on gas. So if you were going wild camping, you will just have to knock it off automatic and put it onto gas manually by pressing the button. The centre button, you do have your temperature, which goes up in 5 gauges. So 5 being the coolest. So if you were to pre-chill it, you'd have it on 5. But once you put your shopping in, if you're pre-chilling at home or you've got your shopping in and you're on a site, you may want to turn it down to 3 or 4 being the maximum, so it doesn't freeze your shopping. And then finally, you've got this setting here, which stops the freezer door from sticking on itself. So there's a heater element put round here to stop the rubber from sticking. And then one last thing about the fridge, once you finish use with it, if you're just not using it for a couple of weeks or you're winterizing the vehicle for the winter, you want to leave the doors open of the fridge to stop any mold and bacteria from growing once you've emptied it and cleaned it out. And there's little toggles just under here which clip into these clips there on the door, and they'll keep the doors from shutting on themselves and have an air circulation through the time the vehicle is stood up. In the kitchen on the opposite side, you do have your sink and your 3-burner hob. So you can see all all 3 there lit. Allow them to cool down before you put the cooker hood down on the hob. And then you've got your sink. So ensure that the pump's on. And you'll get pressurized water flow. If this wasn't to be on, you'd just get whatever's left in the lines, and you've got your hot water will do this once the boiler has been opened, but be persistent with it and allow it to get all the air out before it gives you a free flow of water. Below you do have push the catches in, and you've got some storage drawers. Cutlery drawer above, pan drawer, storage in here. You've got your red gas taps. These are for mainly when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe, but you can isolate the appliance that is having an issue with gas on here by turning the taps like so, but make sure that they are all across, and this indicates that the valve is open and that the gas appliance will work. So just make sure that you don't catch these with anything and then you're not getting any gas on any appliance. Storage in here, the catch behind in the center of the cupboard doors which will open, storage rack here for all your tins and your spices, and storage there as well. So you've got large storage above the kitchen and the dinette. So in the centre of the van you've got the toilet adjacent to the shower cubicle. So to start off with the toilet, so make sure the pump's on for your pressurised water. Press the blue button at the back which will give you your water flow for your flush. Flush the toilet before use just to lubricate the seal on the blade and stop that from going hard. Then this grey lever here, you would slide this to the right. Use the toilet with the blade open before flushing, and then sliding it back to the left, which closes and isolates the cassette And then should the cassette indicate that it's full, on here on the diagram you'll get a couple of lights to indicate that the cassette is full and it's ready to be changed. As long as you get in the habit of closing the cassette after use, you'll have no problems when you get on the outside of the vehicle trying to get the cassette out. Should you not be able to get it out, you know what you've done, you just haven't shut the blade. You've got a big toiletry cabinet here. Toiletry cabinet underneath the sink, which just clips in. Part of your wall there, which makes up with this one to just isolate the bedroom off from the washroom, so that'll just slide along, watching you don't catch the bedding and you don't catch the TV wires, but that'll come together. And then across from it you do have your shower, so make sure the shower cubicle curtains and screens are tied back. And then when winterizing, if you just unscrew this from here like so and put the shower hose in the tray with the mixer tap open, any water will just drain out via the waste, which will be open from the outside. As I've showed you where the waste is, you would just pull that handle and ensure that no water was left inside the motorhome over the winter season when the temperatures are cold. At the back of the vehicle you do have your fixed island bed. So on either side you've got these little handy storage compartments. And then you do have wardrobe with hanging rail, little independent reading lights, so each one has a switch on them. Some storage above the bed, and then on this side you've got another handy wardrobe. Above, to open your skylight, this one's on a winder, which is the same as the front one by the bed, and you just wind it open and wind it shut. When it's shut, it will tell you that it's shut via the red little tab in here. So wait for the red tab to turn up, which there it has, and there you can see that the skylight is closed. And you've got a blackout and a fly screen on each skylight. So underneath the dinette seat, when you remove the cushion, this is the location of your freshwater tank. So lift the cushion off, lift the panel up, and then inside the tank would be how you would drain your fresh water off in the winter, or if you've taken on contaminated water, or you're simply not using the vehicle for a while. If you put your hand into the corner here, you'll see that there's a lever just here. You just pull that off, the lever comes off and the fresh water will start to drain. So underneath your side facing bench seat in your lounge, you've got one leisure battery in here and your charger unit and main battery fuses in the corner. And then underneath here you have another leisure battery, so you've got two leisure batteries. So in theory, if you have one fully charged leisure battery while camping, it should last you 3 days if you use it correctly. So if you are going while camping in this vehicle, you can have 6 days of 2 fully charged batteries. Fold your cab seats down to allow the bed to come down. You would just fold these back and they'll fold down. Watch you don't set the horn off. And then pressing the button on the seat belt, you can pull the bed down. and you've got your ladder at the back. Then all the lights that look like this throughout the vehicle are touch lights. And you've got a skylight which you can open above the bed with blackout and fly screen, and then 2 individually switched reading lights there, and your curtains will come across to the middle where the skylight is in the centre. Behind the passenger seat and in between the side facing bench seat, you do have a leisure battery isolation key, so you can isolate the leisure battery should you not use it in the winter to stop it from getting a power drain. And you've got all your 12 volt fuses here, so it would be a good idea to carry some spares and replenish the fuse should it need it. Slide the table in the lounge. There's a little handle here on a cable system, and that'll allow you to slide the table back and forth and left and right. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you do have your handbrake, which is just located behind, what should I say, beside the seat and this panel where you can store things in the top. You've got your mirror adjustment on here as well. Sliding window on the side of the driver's side as it's an A-class. Your rear view camera, which is on all the time and when you go into reverse. You've got your headlight adjustment and your rear fogs down beside the right hand side of the steering wheel, and your trip computer on the end of your wiper stalk, which will go through your average and instant consumption, your range, your travelling times, and you've got trip A and B, and if you wanted to reset that you would just press and hold. All your steering wheel controls, your lights and your indicators, and then on the stalk below you do have your cruise control, which is the top one, which you then push up to set. Cancel on the end of the stalk and resume on the end of the stalk, or you can cancel with the foot brake and press resume. And then you've got speed limiter, which pushing up goes up in 1s, push and hold goes up in 5s, and it'll display on here in the corner what the speed limiter is set to. 6-speed manual gearbox with lifter collar into reverse. Traction control, hill descent control, forget about that because this is a manual, that's more for automatic. Hazards, locks the doors including the habitation door as it's on the central locking. Remember to manually lock your lockers with the habitation key. Heated mirrors, USB for charging and 12 volt for charging. You do have an auxiliary and 12 volt, an auxiliary and USB down here, and 2 cup holders. Glove box, heated and cooled glove box by the air conditioning, so you've got your temperature on this side. Fan speed must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is the button in the middle. Then you've got your distribution, so where you're sending the air to and whether you're bringing fresh air in or recirculating air within the vehicle. Radio is FM and AM, press 1 to 6 to save your favourite radio stations. Media is auxiliary or USB, and then you can pair your phone by pressing phone, connect a phone, add a phone. You want to find Uconnect on your device, make sure the pins match, press pair, and then on your device it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts. Just press allow and it'll download your phone book, so whoever rings it'll come up with a name and a number, and you can scroll through your contacts on the head unit instead of on the phone when you are parked up. Blind here, which is your visor, so you can pull this down if the sun's too bright when driving, and then just pull the side for this to go back up and retract out the way. And then you've got your blinds, so they just pop out of here, slide along top, and are just magnetic. And then you've got the same on the sides to black the cab out on an evening. Make sure that the stuff on the bed is pushed back so it doesn't fall down like this ladder is now. It just needs to be pushed up and kept on the bed. And then you've got these handy lights as well, which light the LED strips up below the bed for a bit of mood lighting. And then to spin your seats, just use the levers here and then pull the seat forward to spin it round all the way into the habitation area. But make sure that it's securely locked in before you start travelling. Below the freshwater filler is your waste drain off valve. So normally you would drive as close as you can to the grid on the way out of the site, pull the handle, and it'll drain off in the middle your wastewater. So this is any water that you've used or put down a plug hole. In the winter it's very important that you drain it off, otherwise it can freeze in the tank and the pipes and it'll cause a lot of damage. So remember, drain it off to be safe. And this is how you do it on the passenger side of the vehicle below the freshwater filler.